Okay, when you first get started tuning, you need to address two things. One is your data logging connection to the ALDL. The other is your emulation connection to the ECM. The data logging connectivity is taken care of with an ALDL cable. The most popular is going to be the USB to ALDL cable. There's some old serial versions of the ALDL cable floating around, so if you have an older laptop, you may need to look at one of those or an adapter of some kind. Also, the AutoProm, if you have one or if you desire to get one, it also has data logging capabilities through this port. I don't have the cable pictured. It does come with the AutoProm. It's a proprietary cable for it. One end goes to the ALDL, one end into here, and you can data log, emulate, and all through one device. So if you're looking for that, this may be the way to go for you. It also has the ability to read and burn EPROM, so if that's something you're after, you may want to look at the AutoProm. Really, that's about it for ALDL connectivity. Once you have a cable and you're connected, you can use DataMaster or Tuner Pro or something else to data log with, watch data real time, make a record of it, put it online. We guys can help you figure out an issue. So data logging is very important for our trucks. Changing chip settings without knowing how they react or how it's reflected in the tune is not only dangerous but ill-advised. You want to know what your changes are doing as you do them. And part of the beauty of Tuner Pro is its ability to emulate, which is going to give you the ability to change chip data while you're data logging. So the ability to modify, say, a fueling table or a spark table and then immediately see those changes in place, that's a very powerful tuning tool. So without data logging capabilities, you're really hampering your ability to tune. From there, your connection to the ECM is usually handled by one of several devices. The AutoProm has emulation capabilities, so that's one. The most popular would be the Ostrich, which is just an emulator in itself. That's its only job, and it does a great job of it. The others would be like an old school Romulator, several other devices that you can get your hands on that will allow you to emulate and will work with Tuner Pro. We'll focus on the Ostrich. It's the most popular. Very simple device. Has a 34-pin IDE header on one end. It's basically a floppy cable, if you will, and the other end is a USB port. The USB goes to the laptop. The IDE end will go to your chip adapter, and it comes supplied with a cable. Has the 34-pin end on one and has the chip adapter end on the other. This is a 28-pin header that will dock with a G1, a G3, pretty much any chip adapter you can get your hands on, old Ultimate adapters. They'll usually work with your Ostrich. The most popular ones, though, are the G3 and the G1. The G3 is a full-featured chip adapter in that it allows you to run a standalone EPROM that you can switch, a lot like the old Ultimates. Select between 16 different bins, but for the sake of what we're doing here, which is emulation, you'll set it up like so. You'll have the jumpers in the upward position. It's 29C256. You'll have your chip docked accordingly, and you'll have your switching adapter set to usually the 0 pin, though I don't know if that's entirely necessary. It's just always the way I've done it. For the header cable, you'll notice that the G3 has a 32-pin socket versus a 28-pin one that the G1 has. So when you encounter that, you need to make sure that you have your header cable docked inboard. As you can see, it has a red alignment pin. It's pin 1 on the header cable. Make sure that that's facing outward, but that the adapter itself is inboard. You can see the empty 2 rows of pins that I've left. For docking the chip on the G1, it does have an alignment notch on the back that corresponds with the alignment pin on the EPROM. Though the G3 doesn't have it, you will put the alignment pin on the stock chip down, basically facing the circuit board in the ECM. And another easy way to remember is we're going to be using the ESC circuitry, so make sure that the pins that you're docking with correspond to the ESC circuitry on the chip. We don't need the chip that's on. We're going to be emulating, so we leave that empty. Easy way to remember it. Insertion into the adapter is very simple. You've got just a row of pins that will dock into the female side on the chip. Again, make sure you're aligning it with the alignment pin. Make sure you're docking it on the ESC circuitry side, and it just kind of snaps in place. Real simple. As far as connectivity is concerned, that's about it from the chip adapter to your emulator. You'll just have a cable like this, and really that's the setup you'll run. Emulator, cable, chip adapter, chip, all this will go into the ECM. And to show you how to do that, the stock ECM has an aluminum cover that makes it a little more difficult to get the stock chip in when it's in a piggyback format. So you kind of have to rock it underneath this aluminum cover, and then once you've got it positioned in place, you can just snap it downward into the ECM like that. You'll feel it click, you'll see the alignment tabs come upward, and you'll notice that it stays firmly in place. Once it's seated, there's no pressure on it, so don't feel like you're going to hurt anything or over time break anything. It's positioned perfectly underneath it. The G3 is a little bulkier, so it's a little more complicated, but you'll just rock it in, pop it back down, and that's in place. One of the good things is that once you have this in place, you really don't have to take it out. You're not going to need your stock chip for any reason unless you're trying to diagnose something and you need to put it back in place. The chip adapter stays in place, and then the header cable, once it's docked in there, you can disconnect it from the Ostrich if you ever need to remove the Ostrich for whatever reason, and just leave the cable plugged up. You'll notice that when it's in there, the cable overhangs the lip. So if you want to run your stock cover, you can put it back in place. Just don't press down too hard, or you may notice some chafing and cutting on this cable right here at the lip. Now once you've got it in place, you can take your Ostrich. The cable I've kind of got tethered up, but it's about 3 foot in length. You can run it to your glove box, you can run it down to the floorboard, to the tray underneath the dash, wherever you'd like to have it. More popular configuration is to shove the ECM and all its contents back up into the dash, run the cable up through the little access panel in the back of the glove box, and have the Ostrich sitting in the glove box, so you can just open it, plug a cable in, and upload or download or emulate whatever you want to do. So really that's about it for connectivity. Once all this is hooked up and in place, you don't have to mess with it anymore. You'll just make sure that your ALDL cable is plugged up for data logging. You'll make sure that you're plugged into the Ostrich for emulation and uploading and downloading, and really all the other magic happens on the laptop. So for this video we'll stop there. We'll pick up with how to connect all the hardware to the laptop and how to set it up in TunerPro.